Well, hello, good day, and welcome to another episode of This Week in Top Chef Wisconsin. As always, I am Kyle Nabilsi. I am a restaurant critic here in Madison, Wisconsin, and after about a decade away from the show, I'm very excited to be recapping this current season of Bravo's Top Chef. Let's get to it. We've got a Chicago connection this week. It's going to keep on happening. I'm sure of it. Whatever. Our guest judge this week is Chicagoan and Top Chef Season 15 winner, that's from Colorado, Joe Flam. He and Kristen, our new host, share the honor of being two of only three chefs to have been eliminated in their respective seasons of the show and come back to win it all through the Last Chance Kitchen, a very difficult thing to say when you're speaking into a camera. They also share an unexpectedly flirty vibe. I don't know. We'll get to the Last Chance Kitchen later, but just sort of keep it in the back of your mind for right now. It's like the resurrection ships from Battlestar Galactica. Very good reference there. You may get eliminated, but you're never totally gone. Except David. Joe knows both Dan, our boy Dan, and Alicia from previous work experience, which is, I think, something previous, the older seasons might not have mentioned so explicitly for fear of causing viewers, question the impartiality of that judge. But spoiler alert, out of this quickfire crew, neither of those two chefs rise out of the middle of the pack. This quickfire is our season's first and asks the cheftestants to create a dish highlighting hops. Since we are in the brewing capital of America and you can sit right down, St. Louis, nobody asked you. I'm not going to go over every dish, just the highlights. There's a lot of citrus and other fruits that seem like an obvious or safe way to deal with hops. But I will admit that the tops of this hops challenge surprised me. Michelle, I guess no surprise at this point, continues to demonstrate excellent skill management, although she does rub a flank steak with hops, little leaves, and manages to not burn them, which is fascinating. Also creates a strawberry hops vinaigrette that Kristen and Joe really like. Kevin finds a strong starting point with a hops-infused oil, and keep that commentary in mind about starting at the right point. Does a nice dessert, that's his strength. And Laura, who was the opening chef at the New Belgium Brewing Taproom restaurant in San Francisco, which actually just closed in February after only 3 years, wins the quickfire with, I'm going to say, a wildly improbable hops-infused rice pudding. She wins $5,000 and a slow but respectful nod from me. At the bottom of the quickfire, Valentine's hops smoked duck seemed like a great idea, to me at least, but it was underdone, undersmoked, like only 10 minutes in the smoker. The fat was unpleasant. Danny's hoppy au poivre sauce was far too poivre-y to really let the hops sing. And Kenny rushed his farro, seemingly in the service of not running out of time to plate it, in the case of episode 1 PTSD. And that is a great time for the It's Not Just You segment, where I've got your back. And no, it's not just you. It was really weird the way Kenny accidentally said twerk instead of tweak. Was there a cue card joke in there somehow? Is he secretly an iPhone's autocorrect function? Piggybacking on the hops of the quickfire, the elimination challenge takes the chefs to the Miller Caves, another place I've been, for a slightly fancy but not this fancy beer dinner. Also, I feel like airing an episode that takes place in a cave the week before Easter had to have been somebody's inside joke. Maybe just mine? I don't know. We'll see a lot of guest luminaries in this cave, including Jamie Brown Sukasumi of Madison's Ahan, Luke Zahm of Driftless Cafe in Viroqua, another great restaurant. He's also the host of PBS Wisconsin's Wisconsin Foodie program, although they don't mention that, I don't think. And noted Wisconsin caricature Charlie Behrens. If it's your thing, it's your thing, whatever. This team challenge will ask the chefs to create a progressive 7-course meal, where each course elevates a salty bar snack to a fine dining dish. The best dish from the winning team will win the challenge, as well as immunity for next week. And while it's not explicitly stated until the end of the episode, the loser has to come off the losing team. So if you win the team challenge, you're safe, at least. Progressive basically means that each dish sort of plays thoughtfully into the next, whether it's ingredient overlap or a conceptual flow like lightest to heaviest, whatever. This implies or demands, really, a team mindset. And so after a brief menu prep session where the cheftestants go grocery shopping and one team just unloads everybody out of the Beamers to shop individually for their ingredients, and the other team breaks down into smaller groups, you start to get the impression that maybe one team is understanding the assignment a little better than the other one. And that is a great time for our recurring segment, How's Dan Doing?, where we check in on the lone Wisconsin cheftestant, Dan Jacobs of Milwaukee. So how is Dan doing? Man, vulnerable. This whole episode was giving me fits of my Lost fandom. Whenever a character got emotional focus, kind of out of nowhere, they'd get eaten by the polar bear or the smoke monster or something by the end of the episode. Dan's fighting with Kennedy's disease, which is a neurological disorder similar to ALS, and man, just like more power to him. He's feeling the team vibe throughout the episode. It's very emotional. He gives the whole group of cheftestants, not just his team, the respect to talk openly about what he's going through. It's solid. A strong and forthright king. Anyway, the yellow team. We're going to start with Rasika, whose name I mispronounced in the first episode of this. Sorry, Rasika. She is teamed up with Michelle, Dan, Alicia, Kenny, Savannah, and Manny. And the red team is Kevin, Danny. There's so many NYs in this. Kevin, Danny, Valentine, Laura, Amanda, Kalina, and Charlie. And their challenge will be to work, like I said, with those salty bar snacks. Popcorn, pickles, pretzels, mixed nuts, chips, olives, and toasted corn kernels, which you might know better by the trademark name Corn Nuts. Fairly generic bar snacks, I'm going to say. Would have loved to see something a little more Wisconsin-y. Give me a pickled egg or some herring or something. Whatever. As it is, it stands to be a tough challenge. Savannah, on behalf of Team Yellow, voices some insecurity over the fine dining pedigree of Team Red. Team Red, however, should be concerned about its lack of cohesion. Guess which team was the one that shopped individually? It's kind of summed up by Kevin's salt bomb of an opener. Just a smattering of olives paired with something crunchy. Red's progressive dinner never really settles into a groove. Some thoughts. Kenny gets potato chips. Isn't super confident about it. And is it just me? Maybe this is the second moment of it's not just you. Maybe is it just me? Or did he actually just make a potato pave out of thinly sliced potatoes and not use actual potato chips? Felt like a cheat, even if it was one of the judges' favorite dishes. Charlie, continuing his close but not quite streak with seafood, served at least one portion of his ultra fiddly potato chip crusted mackerel raw, or at least raw in the middle. Michelle is one loud wig away from giving Tom a Schitt's Creek, "Ya fold it in," when he asks where the crab is in her crab and corn nut biscuit, which I very much wanted to eat, by the way. Guest Judge Joe never seems to be actually complimenting something until all of a sudden he blurts out a compliment at the end of the sentence. It's a strange delivery. Rasika goes fully feral for pretzels, pairing them with a lime granita that barely freezes in time. Leading to a classic line, "If I go home with soupy granita, I will never forgive myself." Soupy granita. It's going to be my new display name online. Also, a honey mustard sabayon. Sort of like an ice cream-ish, that Savannah gives some real shit to in the confessional. Savannah, come by a National Mustard Day here in Madison in August and have yourself a scoop of mustard ice cream. Learn something. Team Red ends up face-planting on the whole progressive meal thing, and Team Yellow takes the win, with Rasika winning the challenge and next week's immunity. Manny, it should be noted, did not play it safe with his immunity and could easily have won this week's challenge. Joining Kenny and Kevin at the bottom is Valentine, and his sludgy corn chowder earns him a one-way ticket to the Last Chance Kitchen. Here you go. Now, the Last Chance Kitchen. It's kind of a round-robin sort of thing where eliminated chefs get to grasp desperately at a re-entry to the competition with a single challenge against the most recent elimination. Except Hat Guy David's not there waiting for Valentine, and there's some confusion and mystery in the fandom about what's going on here. We'll have to wait and see if there's some clarity by the end of the season. But new guy Sue An, also of Chicago, takes up the vacancy and ends up beating Valentine, who does the sludgy corn thing again in a make luxurious food comfortable again challenge. Sue will have to win 4 more last chances to make it into the competition proper. And that is the end of this recap. And it's time for our Peak Wisconsin moment, which comes to us thanks to Kristen, bemoaning starting a progressive dinner with anything dairy and taking heat for it. There's always room for dairy, Kristen. Come on now.